I want to bring in HLN legal analyst, criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson, psychotherapist Robi Ludwig. So, Robi, the details and Joey of this, pretty horrific. Robi, I'll start with you in terms of the psychological aspect. We'll move on to the legal. But the headline, when a bride marries this groom anyway, and in the affidavit, it appears that she caught him in the act. What does that say?
You know, it is hard to imagine why any woman would go through with a marriage like this to this type of man. But it is very possible that she's deeply in love with this person, or thinks she is, that she's winning a prize. She could be a codependent, thinking that she is going to cure her husband in some way. She may see marriage as curative, that somehow when they get married, she can fix the situation. He may have told her that he really loves her, and she wants to believe that he's some alpha man who strayed, or they have an open relationship that we don't know about, and this just took a criminal turn.
And do you think it could be maybe protecting him? Let's say it's a huge wedding and all friends and family are there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's probably a sense of pride, or maybe she didn't want to feel humiliated. But my sense is if you're drawn to this kind of person, then there's some kind of issue there. We don't know what she comes from. Did she see this marriage as offering her some kind of life that she couldn't have otherwise? Is she repeating a pattern where she saw a dysfunctional marriage in her own family? Or is she just seeing him somehow as someone who made a mistake and she can fix it in some way, and she blames the woman who was victimized for her husband doing what he did?
And Joey, intoxication, that of course, I'm just wondering why this isn't considered rape in terms of the charges here. And she says she remembers, according to the affidavit, kind of coming in and out of consciousness. If there is a witness to this, because the bride said she came in the middle of this, couldn't she testify to attest to what was happening?
Without question, Susan, good to be with you, and Dr. Robi as well. You know, look, they classify this as an deviant sexual assault. And the fact is that rape and deviant sexual assault, whatever you classify it, he's facing up to 20 years in jail. And there's plenty of evidence here. You mentioned one of it, certainly a reluctant witness, right, which will be his wife. She'll certainly be reluctant to testify. But you have so many other issues that are occurring here. You mentioned the intoxication. Well, the law factors in when you take advantage of someone because they're intoxicated. That's no excuse. If you're intoxicated, that's no excuse. And so that, therefore, person it doesn't have the ability and their faculties to do anything about it. And remember the compelling nature of the evidence. You have text messages from him essentially apologizing. You have a controlled call that he made to her apologizing. You have him speaking to the police, admitting what he did. You have surveillance showing him pulling her into the shower area. So he's in a world of hurt in terms of the prosecution. I think they have a very strong case, as well it should be, with respect to his behavior. If true, you know what? He has to face the consequences.
Yeah, I want to read some of those text messages. The day of the wedding, he sent the alleged victim some of these. And you're right, Joey, the evidence is here. It says, can we please just be as happy as possible for the bride today? Mistakes are behind us, and I just need total closure before I do this, why I'm sending this. And then I'm as happy as ever to marry, and her name, we're leaving that out. The groom goes on to write, we never did do it, but would you consider taking plan B to make damn certain just in case? His words. There's almost no chance, but still he goes on to say, please tell me yes, I'm begging you. So wow, Joey, saying, look, nothing really happened, but just do this.
Well, you know what? You sit there, right, Susan, and Dr. Robi sits there, and I sit here listening and seeing that. Think of how we feel. Imagine now we're jurors, right? Now that's who we are, and we hear this in terms of taking plan B and all the other things you said, which I don't need to repeat. And then you look at the other evidence and information in terms of the surveillance, his statement that he gave to the police, the control call they were on, and it's just appalling. And if we're appalled, you can only imagine and envision 12 people sitting in a box are going to be appalled. And if they are, guess what that equals? Conviction.
And just a couple seconds, Robi, do you think as the story unfolds or as these come out that she will stay with him? I guess you would have to meet her to analyze that.
It depends how codependent she is. If she really believes that her love can save this man or that his love can save her, she might in fact stay with him. He could be very sociopathic and she could be somehow seduced into wanting to believe him. But time will tell, and we shall see.
All right, Joey Jackson, Robi Ludwig, thank you both.